Okay, so the artist I chose to present on are Christo and Jeanne-Claude. I actually studied them in another art class that I took, and I thought they were very interesting. So when I saw that their name was on the list for this presentation, I was really excited to learn more about them. Okay, so little background info on the married couple. They were actually both born on the exact same day, June 13th in 1935. They got married in 1959, so about 30 years later. In all of their artwork, they deny that there is any deeper meaning. There's no hidden meanings. They purely believe that art is based on joy and beauty, and in anything that they've created, it is solely based on joy and beauty. People have thought this is a very controversial topic because they think that a lot of Christo and Jean's artwork has hidden meanings. People try to delve in a little deeper, and the couple has forever said that there are no deeper meanings in their artwork, purely joy and beauty. Another interesting thing about the two of them is, as I show you their creations, you'll see that they're very expensive, but the couple completely funds all of their projects on their own. They do not receive any kind of sponsorship, any kind of money, anything like that. They do it all on their own. And they fund themselves by selling their individual artwork to create their creations that I'm going to show you here in a minute. So Christo is still alive. Jeanne, unfortunately, did pass away in 2009 from a brain aneurysm. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of my favorite pieces by them. They're a very interesting art duo. Okay, so this is the Surrounded Islands. It was they created it in Miami in 1982. So basically what the two of them like to do is wrap things, wrap huge, outrageous pieces of nature. So this was one of the islands that they wrapped in Miami. There were 11 uninhabited islands surrounding Florida, and they decided to wrap all of them. So Christo was actually credited he was credited for creating this in 1982. They thought at the time they would get a better reputation from it if they credited Christo, since he was a man, instead of crediting Jeanne-Claude. They didn't think it would be as known. People would not respect it as much. So there were 6.5 million square feet of polypropylene fabric that wrapped this island, which is quite a lot. Viewers could see it for miles and miles and miles. They could see this out in the water. And you can see in the picture there's like a little one behind it. So that was just another one of the islands that they wrapped. So this was kept up for 2 weeks before it was taken down. Next, we have the Pont Neuf wrapped in Paris. It was created. The design took from 1975 to 1985. They used plastic wrap for this one. The Pont Neuf was a major city icon, which did make it kind of difficult because this was such a public area, and it was hard to get the design going when there was always people passing in and out. So from the time that they got the city's approval, which did take quite a while, they started it a decade after they actually first planned out of doing this. So it took a decade to get all the approval and actually be able to start the process of wrapping the Pont Neuf. Next, we have the wrapped Reichstag. It's in Berlin. It took place from 1971 to 1995. So the Reichstag was actually originally built in 1894. It burned down in a fire in 1935, and they almost completely destroyed it in 1945. They did rebuild it. So this was also a very iconic landmark in Berlin. So it took Christo and Jeanne a lot of petitioning to let them wrap it. So they actually started 20 years later on this one. As you can see, it's a huge building, and they completely wrapped it. Okay, next we have the wall. It was the wrapped Roman wall. It's in Rome, Italy. This took place from 1973 to 74. So they used polypropylene again and a lot of rope to wrap this wall. They wrapped it completely, both sides, under, over, completely wrapped it. There were 40 workers who worked on this, but they actually had it up. They had the wall completely wrapped in a matter of 4 days, which is very, very impressive. Okay, next we have the wrapped trees. These were in the Foundation Weiler and B. Rower Park. It's in Rheinheim, Switzerland. This took place from 1997 to 98, so it wasn't a very lengthy project. So almost 600,000 square feet of woven polyester fabric were used to wrap these trees. They took about 2 weeks to fully wrap them, November 13th to November 27th, and people really liked this one because the fabric was translucent, as you can kind of see in the photo. So as the wind blew and the trees swayed, that fabric would move in and out and kind of undulate with the wind, and so it was a really, really cool sight to see. I think this one's pretty cool. Okay, next we've got the Valley Curtain. It's in Rifle, Colorado, put up in 1972. So there were 35 construction workers who worked on this and 64 college students and temporary helpers. In almost all of their projects, I really like that Christo and Jeanne-Claude incorporate college students or art students, people who would never get to experience something like this, get to, and I really think that's a cool part of what they do. So 27 huge ropes were hung, as you can see from the from side to side of that mountain. There was 200,000 square feet of fabric used, and it actually took 28 months for them to put it up. This one took a while. It was only up for 28 hours though, which is kind of a bummer. But it said they actually had really strong winds that day, so once they put it up 28 hours later, it was completely taken down because the wind was so strong. Okay, I think this one is my most favorite of Christo and Jeanne-Claude's works. So this is the wrapped coast in Little Bay, Sydney, Australia. It took from 1968 to 69. I would have thought it would have taken a lot longer. But they actually wrapped the coastline of a beach. And that's not just a beach. That is rocks, and that is a jagged coastline. So they wrapped 1.5 miles of the coastline near Sydney, Australia. 1 million square feet of erosion control fabric was actually put on the coastline. What I like about this one is that they use the erosion control fabric, so it actually was helping the coastline instead of just wrapping something for the heck of it. The fabric did stay up for 4 weeks, which is longer than some of their past pieces. 110. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me restate that. It took 4 weeks to actually get the coastline wrapped. So then there was 110 workers working on it. It took them 4 weeks to put it up. It stayed up for 10 weeks. So it was up for quite a while. So it did help the coastline since it was that erosion control fabric. Okay, we are moving to the last piece of Jeanne and Christo Claude. This is the floating piers in Lake Iseo, Italy. This is a more recent piece of theirs. Jeanne did pass away before this, so this one is credited solely to Christo for that reason. It took place from 2014 to 2016. As you can see, this is in the middle of a lake. It was 100,000 square feet of fabric, and they actually created, I guess Christo actually created, with help of other people, a modular floating dock. So there wasn't a dock or a pier or anything in the water to begin with. He completely constructed that on his own and wrapped it in that yellow fabric, as you can see. I didn't mention with the previous pieces, every single one of Christo and Jeanne-Claude's pieces are 100% open to the public, free. You don't have to buy a ticket, you don't have to reserve a spot, anything like that, which is another factor that I really like about the two of them and their belief for art. So this one lasted, it stayed up for 16 days, so the public could come in, enjoy it. You can see all the little people walking on it, so definitely people did get a lot of joy out of this one. So yes, now we have looked at quite a few of Christo and Jeanne-Claude's pieces. They are very, very unique artists and have a big view on how art should be portrayed in the world, which is one of the reasons I appreciate them the most.